Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gomansing. Topic on Newscast, election officials are a little bit closer to providing final numbers from last Tuesday's general election, but the actual official results could still be days away. News 2's Erica Parsons has more.
The St. Croix Elections Board has stepped up its efforts to put the general election behind them. After a full weekend of manually counting ballots from numerous precincts, they've changed tactics.
Senators, 8.
Now, instead of just counting one set of ballots, they've multiplied the effort. On Monday, St. Croix began feeding the early voting ballots that could be scanned. While that was going on, board members and poll workers worked on sticker ballots from the Claudio Marco precincts, while another group worked on the unreadable ballots from the Pearl B. Larson precincts. Throughout this process, the candidates or their representatives have kept a close eye on the counting and the handling of the ballots, and that hasn't changed despite the long hours and the time it's taking. The Elections Board in both districts have been steadily counting since Tuesday. Friday night, St. Croix stopped just before 6 p.m. because of the bad weather, but they continued counting Saturday and Sunday, while St. Thomas took Sunday off. St. Croix has completed Eulalie Rivera, Alfredo Andrews, St. Gerard's Hall, Ricardo Richards, Florence Williams, Juanita Gardine, JFK, and Charles H. Emanuel. Meanwhile, St. Thomas has finished counting all their precincts. They're just working on unreadable ballots that were recreated. They're also working on the provisional and absentee ballots, including the two that the St. Croix board is working on today. They have 7 more polling places to finish. Their process has been complicated by sticker ballots to be counted for Senator Alicia Hansen that could not be scanned. And of course, the close scrutiny of the public remains, and when it's time to put away the ballots, there's police presence to make sure there are no problems. Erica Parsons, News 2.
Now, the counting continued in both districts over the weekend, and the latest report from the election system shows a slight change. That report was from 7:40 on Sunday night. For Governor, Kenneth Mapp is still leading at 48.07%, while Donna Christensen is at 37.41%. If Kenneth Mapp goes beyond the 50% line, then there will be no runoff. On St. Thomas's senatorial race, Marvin Blyden retains the top spot, followed by Myron Jackson, Clifford Graham, Tregenza Roach, Jean Ford, and Jeanette Millen-Young. Donald Cole is still at 8th place since Justin Harrigan Sr. overtook him on Wednesday. On St. Croix, there were some changes in numbers, but the order is the same. From the top, it's Kurt Vialet, Novell Francis, Samuel Sanes, Kenneth Gittens, Neville James, Terrence Nelson, and Narita O'Reilly. Rocky Liburd is leading at 60.62% for the senator-at-large race. The counting continues for both districts. Supervisor Caroline Fox said the website will be updated Monday night with the new numbers from each district. The general election has to be certified by November 11th. News 2 will keep you updated. Education crews have been working since Friday to clean up a classroom at the Alfredo Andrews Elementary School. Officials say there was an electrical fire at the school Friday evening. It sparked after water affected an air conditioning unit. Government officials are in the process of assessing the damages. Superintendent Gary Malloy says the school should be ready by Wednesday when students return. Public schools were closed Monday for teacher workshops and will also be closed Tuesday for Veterans Day. Fire investigators don't suspect foul play. VI Port Authority's Executive Director Carlton Dow says the authority is working diligently to rectify the runway lighting problems. The airport was closed around 6 p.m. on Friday due to electrical problems on the airport's runway. Some of the airfield lights shorted out. VIPA's engineers believe that water from the heavy rains experienced was the cause of the electrical problems. Maintenance technicians were on the airfield assessing the lights but had to stop because of the rain. Plus, the airfield was already saturated with water. In addition to poor lighting conditions, some flights were canceled. However, the airport was open 6 a.m. the following morning, Saturday, with flights operating as scheduled. A St. Thomas teen who was reported missing last week was found unharmed, according to police. On Friday, VIPD detectives said 15-year-old Ashia Thomas was last seen on Thursday in her school uniform on a safari bus near Tutu Park Mall. Witnesses say that was around 5 p.m. and the safari bus was headed towards town. police labeled Thomas as a runaway. Late Friday night, the VIPD's public information officer said the minor was located. No other details were provided. Well, a hearing to discuss the new agreement proposed between the VI government and Hovenza's prospective buyer, Atlantic Basin Refined VI, is being held as we speak. The 38th legislature began taking testimony on the matter from 4 p.m. this afternoon on St. Croix. In addition to residents, the hearing will include testimony from the government and ABRVI. You can view the prospective agreement, which is on the legislature's website at www.legvi.org. Meanwhile, ahead of today's hearing by the 38th legislature, Committee on the Whole on the proposed sale of the oil refinery, Governor DeYoung commented this morning on the need for the sales process to be completed. The transaction closed and the refinery reopened to boost economic activity on St. Croix and provide a source of employment for hundreds of Virgin Islanders. Here's more.
For 2 years, we've had an ultimate objective, which is reopening the refinery. From that day in January of 2012, when I was notified of their closing, and their closing meant the loss of 2,000 jobs, discounted fuel oil to WAPA, a lot of business activity within the St. Croix community, but also within the territory, loss of $100 million in tax payments, $500 million of economic activity to our community. My objective has been to do an economic analysis to determine what's the best use of that facility, which we did. And we found out that based on that analysis done by an expert, it is as a refinery. And after getting initial resistance from the owners with respect to a sales process, they finally agreed to it. About 6 months later, the legislature authorized it. And the beginning of this year, in January 2014, we started the process.
Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated. Looking overseas, let's take a look at the prices at the pumps before we do that. Prices remain unchanged. Hovenza's lowered its gasoline prices slightly last week by 7 cents per gallon. So retail gas station owners are still paying a wholesale rate of $3.42 for regular at Hovenza's rack. The cost for premium is $3.74 and retailers will pay $3.46 for diesel. Those rates include the 14 cents tax Hovenza collects for the government. Looking overseas, the president kicked off an 8-day Asian tour today in Beijing. Talking to business leaders ahead of the Asia-Pacific Economic Summit, the president called the U.S. and Asia inextricably linked and portrayed the U.S. and China as nations forging new ties. While the president tries to make some foreign policy gains on this trip, some question how much influence the president can have in Asia after big Republican wins in last week's midterms. So far, the president announced the U.S. and China will start granting visas to each other's citizens valid for up to a decade. In other news, a small plane crashed on its descent to Grand Bahama Island. The jet had lifted off from the capital of Nassau and attempted a landing in Freeport. All 9 people on board were killed. One of the passengers, Bahamian Miles Monroe, had organized the 2014 Global Leadership Forum, which is currently taking place in the Bahamas. Keeping our eye on the economy, the holiday shopping season is revving up, and this week investors catch a glimpse at how consumers are feeling. The advanced retail sales report for October comes Friday. The U.S. Postmaster, in other news, General releases his agency's quarterly service performance and financial reports and discusses its future on Friday. The Postal Service has steadily lost money as the internet and private companies compete for its business. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our Stock Market Watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all up. The Dow 39, Nasdaq 19, S&P 6. Coming up on NEWS2, in honor of our vets, events are held tomorrow. We'll tell you where and when. We'll be right back. All public schools on St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John were closed today, Monday, due to a professional day that was scheduled. Many businesses and schools will be closed tomorrow as well, Tuesday, November 11th, to observe Veterans Day. The University of the Virgin Islands will also be closed on Tuesday, November 11th. Classes in UVI administrative offices will resume regular schedules on Wednesday, November 12th. Now, some of the businesses are closed, as we just mentioned, including innovative business offices on St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix. All of them closed on Tuesday, November 11th. The innovative wireless locations at Estate Diamond and Plaza Extra West on St. Croix and Tutu Park Mall and Lockhart Gardens Mall on St. Thomas will also be closed. Normal business hours at each location will resume on Wednesday. On St. John, veterans and service members gathered on Saturday in Frank Powell Park in Cruz Bay to commemorate Veterans Day and the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. The 50th anniversary commemoration of the Vietnam War proclamation signing was held October 31st at Government House in St. Thomas. November 11th is Veterans Day, and the Office of Veterans Affairs has planned events on all three islands. On St. Croix, the parade starts in Christiansted at the Bassin Triangle at 9:30 a.m. On St. Thomas, the parade begins at 3 p.m. at Adelita Cancrine Junior High and will end at the Franklin D. Roosevelt Veterans Memorial Park. Be sure to tune in to News 2. We will have some highlights from the ceremonies. In observance of November 11th, the Christiansted National Historic Site, like all national park units that require fees, will be free. Enjoy the historic waterfront and visit the historic buildings. The Christiansted National Historic Site is celebrating its 62nd anniversary in 2014. Be sure to visit to see some of the oldest buildings in the Federal Registry that the National Park Service maintains for the public trust. The National Park Service offers tours of the National Historic Sites by calling 340-773-1460. Last week, Department of Education officials announced June Provost as the territory's 2015 State Teacher of the Year. Provost was chosen as the St. Thomas St. John District's winner, while Juliet Haddad Miller from Lou Muckle Elementary won the St. Croix District title. Provost will represent the department and territory at the National State Teacher of the Year competition. State Teachers of the Year participate in a number of activities, beginning early next year with the National State Teacher of the Year Conference. Well, there was a lot happening at Coral World on Sunday, and it was all centered around coral reefs and the protection. Activities and educational programs, demonstrations, free admission to the park, live music, reef rap competition, and much more. Coral World Ocean Park, with the support of the University of the Virgin Islands and Blue Flag USVI, they held the 5th annual St. Thomas Reef Fest. The Reef Fest community event in past years has been organized by the Sea Grant Marine Outreach Program's Virgin Islands Marine Advisory Service at the University of the Virgin Islands. Reef Fest is all about empowering the local community to protect the coral reefs. Peter Gruber International Academy students and faculty celebrated the addition of 3 new facilities on its school campus by honoring the life of Peter Gruber with a ceremony. The ceremony was open to the public. It was held today on the school's campus. VI philanthropist Peter Gruber was a huge supporter of the sciences and education. He passed away just last month. Since 2012, the school has had a partnership with Peter and wife Patricia Gruber. The event was free and open to the community to get a first look at the newly constructed amphitheater, performance center, solar and sports awning, the eco-friendly infrastructure facilities, and much more. The ceremony included a ribbon cutting, reception, and campus tours. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.